Many thanks for staying. Welcome back to the marketplace. Now to the first story. The local currency beginning from this year has gone up by almost 1% against the US dollar, the first for 2017. It is currently trading at 4 Ghana cedis 19 pesos and is the best since December 2016. The public debt as well as interest that government is paying on loans is expected to be one of the immediate beneficiaries of the cedi's good run. The following business desk report also could be impacted by the cedi's performance.
With the cedi's sustained appreciation, the about 13 billion Ghana cedis that government is setting aside as interest payments will go down significantly. This could help managers of the economy move the expected savings to other sectors of the economy, like funding infrastructure projects and other social interventions. Checks by Joy Business indicate more than half of the 122 billion Ghana cedis public debts were secured in dollars. So if the local currency's good run is sustained, that will reduce the debt stock, which will go a long way to move Ghana out of the debt distress tag. If the economy expands, now this could even reduce the cost of securing loans on the international market. The price of petroleum products will also go down, since majority of these products are imported. Some of the oil marketing companies have promised to reduce prices further if the Ghana cedi continues to appreciate. If this trend is sustained, it could force transport operators to reduce fares in their next review, and even prices of goods and services could also go down.
And that was a business desk report. Meanwhile, government has vowed to do everything within its power to support the Bank of Ghana's efforts in sustaining the cedi's appreciation. The local currency is currently 4 Ghana cedis 19 pesos against the dollar. This is the first sustained appreciation for this year. However, there have always been concerns the fact that there has not been any significant coordination between the fiscal and monetary policies. But Deputy Finance Minister Kweku Kwatin tells Joy Business this would change. He has also been outlining how government intends to help stabilize the cedi.
What we're seeing reflects the confidence that the public is beginning to have in the economic strategies that were announced in the 2017 budget statement. The idea that most of the commitments we made in the budget have actually been operationalized through the necessary legislation suggests clearly that government is sincere about the strategies. And what that does is that it makes people feel that going forward, we can be confident that the objectives of the strategies will be achieved. That is private sector growth, government rationalizing its own expenditures, because that is what ultimately fuels the macroeconomic instabilities. They are all signals to the private sector and the public that going forward, the macroeconomic environment would be stable, and therefore those even speculators who would have loved to save their value in foreign currency are now beginning to reconsider their decision. It appears to me that that is what is accounting for the appreciation of the cedi. And you might have heard about people now saying that they have had, for instance, to pay their taxes and be refunded and get refunds for the taxes they have paid. All those things are part of strategies we're using to boost revenue. And therefore, they are all things that from our end, we consider that if we pursued, would signal to observers and players of our economy that going forward, the cedi would stand up for itself, and therefore there's really no need moving away from the cedi.
All right, so that was Deputy Finance Minister Kweku Kwati. We're trying to get in touch with economists to actually do some more analysis on this particular development, especially the impact on the petroleum industry, as and when we get through to the phone. And I'm told we have economist Courage Kingsley Martin now on phone. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the marketplace.
Good afternoon, Ma. Thanks for having me.
All right. Now, before we go into the impact on the petroleum industry, do you think that the path that the city is taking now could be sustained at least for the rest of the year?
When you look at what is the fundamental reason why the city is recovering, you will see that it is the main reason again why it was depreciating that fast. You know, one of the key reasons why the city was depreciating and why it's recovering is the loss of confidence in the policy framework or policy environment. Because if you announce to the market that you are going to do and you will remain committed to doing a 5.3 fiscal deficit, and you turn out to do 8.7 fiscal deficit, that's going to be a total loss of confidence in the policy framework. And if it comes out that there's been some amount that has not even been accounted for, that will be a further dent on confidence in the market. And so the fact that there was also a budget that was read following from that, which appears to have also followed through on promises, for instance, in the area of tax incentives, and then also in the area of ensuring that amidst the tax incentives, these are the areas to ensure we bring down the budget deficit. There appears to be a restoration in policy clarity and policy credibility. Now, this credibility is what appears to have restored the confidence or restoring the confidence. And that was also capitalized on to issue some bonds that brought in effects. So the key reason is the confidence.
Okay. Now, so we are aware that the city appreciating is a key determinant of fuel pricing in this country. Now, currently, as the city is quite appreciating in value against the dollar, do we expect to see it translated into fuel price reduction perhaps in the next pricing window in the month of April?
Well, the current price that we have at the pumps is valid until 15th of this month. That's like next week, Saturday. Between now and then, a lot could happen. The exchange rate is only one of the variables that will be considered. But the other thing will be the price of the product on the world market because we bring it from elsewhere. As we speak, the price appears to be heading upwards. And so that increase, if it becomes substantial, could offset and neutralize the positive effect of or the downward pressure that the appreciating CD could bring about. So it may not immediately or necessarily result in a decline in the prices of the petroleum product at the pumps. You know, so we need to look at what's happening on the external market. And so give or take, as of today, I think the factors are more or less neutralizing each other. And we'll see how it evolves between now and the next pricing window.
Do we think that any speculatory tendencies could set in to derail the progress of the city?
No, I don't see speculative tendencies at all because currently we have so much supply of foreign currency on the market, and so that demand has been overwhelmed. And so there is no amount of speculation that could overturn the supply side on the market.
All right. Thank you very much, Courage Kingsley Martin, for your time. Courage Kingsley Martin is an economist. Moving on, government may not be able to reach an agreement with the visiting IMF team on extending Ghana's program with the fund. That's according to the Deputy Finance Minister, Kweku Kwati. But could this delay in reaching an agreement with the IMF affect the economy? George Wiafi tells us more.
The IMF team, which has been in town since Monday, are hoping to carry out its Article 4 consultations, but some might call an assessment of the health of the Ghanaian economy and reach an agreement with the government on extending the country's program with the fund to December 2018. But Mr. Kwati says there are still some things that government needs to clear before taking a decision on this.
The whole point of the IMF program is to ensure the kind of discipline that would move the country away from the path of unsustainable debt and that we saw in the past. So the critical point is the commitment with which the government seeks to rein in its own expenditures and to improve its revenue. So long as that commitment is total, as I see in this government, the point about having an external partner stand over your head as though if they didn't, you would do the wrong thing, then would have been settled. I am clear in my mind that there are things we are doing in this program that the IMF did not even require. For instance, the capping of statutory funds was not part of the program. We found the need to do it. And we did it because we believe in that. And so in the end, we think we have the self-discipline to do things right. Ghana is a proud country of intelligent and good people. We are capable of turning our own economy around. We do not necessarily need an external agent to be here to instill discipline. As a Ghanaian, I'm not attracted to that proposition, but the IMF, it's a development partner. Ghana is a member of the IMF, and so we're happy to engage with them as we seek to improve our economy. But we're clear in our minds that this economy would only grow if we are committed to making it grow.
For some, the current stability and investor confidence that the country is currently enjoying can be attributed to the fund program. Therefore, any signals that government wants to quickly get out and carry out some excessive spending could see the market punish the country by exiting from our bonds, as well as the rating agencies punishing Ghana by reviewing our ratings into a junk status. Joy Business understands government is currently divided on extension of the IMF program.
Away from that, the new Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, Dr. John Ofori-Tinkwang, says his immediate priority is to improve benefits of contributors. The trust has in recent times come under serious criticism over what is given out to contributors, but Dr. Tinkwang says they are working hard to address this challenge.
At the end of the day, it is the end product that sells, you see. So if pensioners are able to get their pensions on time, as soon as you retire, then you don't even have to contact us, and the paperwork is generated and your particulars are in the system, and you can get your pensions on time. I mean, because we are supposed to be replacing income, right? So ideally, you shouldn't have to wait for more than a month to get your money. So if that money is coming and people don't have to do a lot to be able to access that money, and also if that money is meaningful, because you can have your whatever the predetermined amount be adjusted by inflation and stuff, but we all know in this country that a lot of our purchasing power in CD terms keep on eroding. So I wish and I hope that under our tenure, the monies that pensioners get really will be meaningful in terms of being able to, the adjustments, being able to cover the real cost of living. We should probably rejig some of our portfolio to be able to generate returns that are even linked, let's say, to a basket of foreign currencies. And you can do that here in Ghana. You have prime real estate in Ghana that is charged in dollars. Everybody knows that, right? So you don't have to take the money offshore.
Let's now do some stories from the extractive industry. And licensed artisanal miners duly operating by the law would not be affected by the ban on small-scale mining, at least for now, except those abusing their licenses. That's the assurance from the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Peter John Amewu. Now, he has been speaking to Joy Business in the wake of the fight against illegal mining, also known as Galamsey.
Some stakeholders are calling for the ban to be extended to even licensed operators in the fight against illegal mining. This, according to them, is because they also engage in illegal mining and also hire out their equipment to illegal miners. The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Peter Amewu, admits it is challenging distinguishing between law-abiding small-scale miners from unscrupulous ones.
It is also clear that over thousands or so of these small-scale licenses have not probably gone through the process. The law says that they need ratification. It should have gone through Parliament. And so invariably, what it means is that those 1,000+ small scale, that are up there on the ground working are doing it illegally. Now, the difficulty, therefore, is that some of those small scale that have got the license through prospecting, mining license, and an authorization, therefore, to mine, you get to their concessions and they are behaving just like those who have not got the license. So the difficulty, therefore, is how do you differentiate. That is why I've said that both official and non-official, since I assumed office, I have never given any consent to any mining lease in terms of the small scale. The attempt was just to sanitize the system.
But beyond the moratorium, they think that even small-scale miners, we should halt their operations to sanitize the system for a period of time before it's even...
Of course, that is a brilliant discussion, and I think that we need to engage, with ourselves. But we are going down there to the ground very soon. We are going to the fields, very soon. We are picking informations, and at the field, certain decisions will be taken when we get to those concession grounds.
So could the sector minister be under pressure against this backdrop?
No, I think that we work under a president that doesn't sleep, a president that works, let me say, 24 hours. And so if somebody should be more under pressure, I think my boss, because when I wake up and I think that 3 a.m., I said, no, the president may be up already. It gives me some form of urgency to work because we are working to deliver in accordance with the goodwill of this current president. So I'm not totally under pressure, but we are working diligently to make sure that we meet our target goals.
Stakeholder groups like the Wasa Association of Communities Affected by Mining have government's decision to suspend issuing new licenses to small-scale miners.
Now, the agribusiness subsector of the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, is engaging government on some policy measures to be considered in its planting for food and jobs agenda. The meeting is expected to come out with a clear roadmap on how Ghanaian farmers can maximize their gains in the policy. My colleague Ebenezer Sabote is taking part in the meetings and is currently joining me live from where it is going on for some updates.
Mr. Winfred Osewusu, who is the chairman of the agribusiness subsector of the AGI. He will be giving us some highlights about their engagement with the Minister of Agriculture on the planting for food and jobs policy. It's one of the policies by the government of Ghana to create employment through agriculture, and as industry players they have some inputs which they think government needs to add to the agenda. So we'll be engaging him on some of the input that they are having here. Mr. Usu, welcome to Joy Business.
Thank you.
So please tell us briefly why this engagement and some of the input you are making.
Okay. In the run-up to the elections in 2016, sorry, the NPP engaged the AGI on a number of occasions in preparing their manifesto, seeking to know what AGI thinks should be some of the policies that if they got power, they could implement. I think that it is significant to know that at one of these engagements, the current president, Excellency, His Excellency President Nana Akufo-Addo was also part of the discussion, and he indicated that agriculture was going to be one of the key pillars of their drive to grow the economy. Thankfully, they are in power, and also we've seen that they have come up with a number of initiatives in keeping with the promise they made to AGI. I think that AGI is very happy about it, and we commend them for that. But we cannot just agree on policy perspectives. We also have to engage and see to implementation. Government has said, and it's the right way to go, that the private sector is going to be the driving force in growing the economy. So we thought it is very appropriate for us to engage the ministry, in a very structured and a functional way, to develop a framework of action to be able to realize and actualize I mean, their dreams and then some of their policy perspectives. So this meeting is a courtesy call. It is the whole delegation comprising about 10 value chains in the agri-sector, and then we are here to pay a courtesy call on the minister to start a series of engagements.
Talking about, your engagement with the minister, yes, the AGI want to make input into it, but I want to find out, how are you positioned? How is the AGI members or members in the agribusiness sector positioned to get hold of this policy so that, yes, they are the driving force for it? How do you position yourself to make this work?
Okay, we have already been in agric, right down from primary production, commercial farming, plantation development, agro-processing, even logistics, export, and trade. Our members are in there. Various companies are already involved in this. Now, with a clear-cut understanding as to what the concepts are, the details, and then the criteria that is going to be set, we will then be able to connect appropriately to make our services available and work with government, because you cannot do that without, the value chains. You can't do that with those people who are already in the system. So, for instance, we have, if you take any commodity, we have companies dotted throughout the country in the rural areas, okay, and they have capacity, even to the extent that a lot of the capacity is idle because we are now underperforming because most of the capacities that are installed are underutilized. So the agribusiness has a lot of potential, okay? And once we get it right, a lot of the things will just fall in place for the economy of this country.
Thank you very much. So we've been speaking with Mr. Samuel Mr. Wilfred Osei, who is the chairman of the agribusiness subsector of the Association of Ghana.
All right, so that was my colleague Ebenezer interacting with the AGI Agribusiness Subsector Chairman, Wilfred Osei, live from the Agricultural Ministry. Now, also still on the marketplace, the Public Utility Workers Union PUW says it is waiting on President Akufo-Addo to invite them for discussions about Ghana's Millennium Challenge Compact, which will see the private sector participation in the ECG. Now, the union, which represents workers of the state electricity distributor, has been consistent in its opposition to the introduction of private sector participation in the sector. Addressing a news conference on Thursday in Accra, General Secretary of the union, Michael Nyantechi, said they are hoping to have their concerns factored into the compact.
Workers of the Electricity Company of Ghana, through the Public Utility Workers Union, have always made it clear they are opposed to the Power Compact because they fear the entity which takes over will lay off the workers. At a news conference on Thursday, however, the PUW General Secretary says their concerns go beyond job losses.
Granted, the government wants to go ahead and even give ECG to a private investor. Are you sure any investor can come and bring about 2,000-3,000 people from somewhere to come and operate ECG? That is technically not feasible. So at the end of the period, it's not just the question about staff losing their jobs, but we have consistently raised very key issues, the impact on local content with respect to Ghanaian businesses that may suffer. We need to transform ECG. There's no question about that. ECG needs to operate efficiently. Why would you want to adopt an option that at the end of the day, if you achieve this goal, the profits that will come out from the business will be repatriated from the country?
He stressed that President Akufo-Addo, prior to his election, had assured he will engage them in discussions on a possible review of the compact, and so their concern, 3 months after assuming office, is that the engagement is yet to take place.
PUW is therefore calling on government as a matter of urgency to expedite the proposed dialogue with key stakeholders as promised by the President, with a view to soliciting ideas that will sufficiently arm it to take a positive decision that will inure to the benefit of our dear country. The long delay on the part of government concerning this consultation process creates the impression that the president is dragging his feet on the issue.
It emerged at the news conference that one of the unspoken reasons why some of the ECG workers may be opposed to private sector participation in the company could be because they will be unable to perpetuate some inappropriate acts that they currently engage in, such as owning and operating the private electricity vending stations. Mr. Nyantakyi, however, says the union does not condone such conduct.
Yes, I think we all know about the issues of conflict of interest. I believe if such things are there, the management should be able to address these challenges. And I don't think that if these are the issues, we as a national union, that will be our concern for some individuals' personal business or private interest that we will be waging this campaign. I don't think that is the issue at all.
Mr. Nyantakyi added, President Akufo-Addo's one district, one factory, and other entrepreneurial promises which were made prior to his election may not be fulfilled if the privatization goes on without their input.
The concessionaire will not have any commitment to the social dimension of ECG's operation, which will adversely affect rural electrification and undermine this present government's one district, one factory agenda.
For Joy News, my name is Hannah Odami.
And on that note, we wrap up this edition of The Marketplace. Many thanks for keeping me company throughout the week. And of course, we'll bring you some more business stories next week. My name is Emmanuel Apwaji. Have a great week.